What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Godly Potential YouTube channel. In this video, we're doing something different. I know I've been saying it in all of my recent videos, something different. But this video, I stumbled across an article just online. Well, basically, it asks you 20 questions really about life. A lot of them, or most of them, are spiritual based. And based on my understanding of the article, it is pretty much to document your current viewpoints on the world. And so I just skimmed through the questions without giving too much of them any thought. You know what? These are some good questions. So I decided, you know what? Why not go ahead and document this? Put it up on YouTube. I mean, for, I don't know, discussion. You guys answer the questions yourself. See if you agree or disagree with me on any of these questions, as well as this is for me to look back in time, because I'm pretty sure you can relate. 5, 6, 7 years ago, 10 years ago, you thought one way, and now today you like, yo, I was what? What was I thinking? Like, I can't believe I thought that, or I can't believe I wore that. I thought that was, you know what I'm saying? I guarantee everybody's watching this video has been through that. And so, why not document it just to see? Because I mean, I'm not above changing my viewpoints. I can feel like this way today. I can stumble across some information that's pretty much goes against that and changes my mind on it, and I can drop that old belief just like that. So, I'm not fixated in my, I'm not fixed in my opinions or my viewpoints in the world. But I think it'd be cool to just document it. And also just talking about documentation of like stuff, like, you know how crazy this is? Like, let's say you make YouTube videos, right? Or just videos, period. Take pictures, whatever, as I do. If you put up a video, this video could potentially last forever. Once it's on the internet, it's up there forever. That means your grandkids, their grandkids, their grandkids, go back as far many generations, all of your descendants can still see you and hear your viewpoints when you're this age, right? Let's say you're 25. When your great grandchild is 25, they can see that and like, wow, that's their thought process when they're that age. I'm that age. Dang, that's crazy. I'm way different, or I'm exactly the same. Or dang, the world is like that. So documentation is basically all I'm doing. So let's pull up the article, and keep in mind that my screen is down here, so I will be looking down here to read. I will be looking up periodically at the camera to pretty much talk about or give my answer, but I will be looking down quite a bit. So let's bring up the article. All right, so let me see if you can see my face. Yeah, cool. So this article is over at matadornetwork.com/BNT/20-questions- for every spiritual seeker. Right, 20 questions for every spiritual seeker. Would you like to send notifications? No thanks. Okay. Exit this out. Okay. So, this article is by Ian McKenzie. Alright. Like a spiritual time capsule, these questions provide you with a snapshot of your current beliefs. In my early 20s, I almost became a nihilist, an existential nihilist to be exact, which argues life is without meaning. I based my belief on the reality I saw around me, or at least on the news. War, violence, and death was everywhere. In the face of such suffering, I couldn't understand why anything mattered. The only logical explanation was that the universe had no purpose. If I did the exercise again in 5 years, 10 years, 25 years, who knows the insight these Polaroids will provide. I quickly realized this mentality was a deep dark hole and decided to continue exploring other beliefs on the nature of existence. Now, looking back 8 years later, I realized it would have been interesting to chronicle my worldview at that time, like a spiritual diary. I would have been able to study where I came from and better understand my personal evolution. Recently, I came across 20 questions that eloquently serve this purpose. Featured in 2005 documentary Film 1, these questions were posed to various spiritual leaders of today, from Deepak Chopra to Ram Dass to the Dalai Lama. I realized answering these questions myself would provide a snapshot of my beliefs today. And if I did the exercise again in 5 years, 10 years, 25 years, who knows the insight these Polaroids will provide. If you, dear reader, would like to join me, here's how. Instructions. Copy and paste the questions below into a blank document or blog post. Answer each question with as much detail as you like, then publish your answers on your personal blog. Leave a comment below with a link to your post. Okay, here we are, the 20 questions for every spiritual seeker. So I'm basically just going to read off all these questions and give my answer. I don't know how long this video is going to be, but I'm about to get it in. 20 questions for every spiritual seeker. Question number 1. Why is there poverty and suffering in the world? Why is there poverty and suffering in the world? Why is there poverty and suffering in the world? Well, my belief is that this world, this dimension, this fourth dimension, is simply a higher dimension of hell. Okay. The dimension below this is a lower level dimension of hell, and this is a higher dimension of hell. And with that, if you're in a hell realm or a hell state, you're going to experience hellish realities such as poverty and suffering. But with that, this poverty and suffering also are lessons, and some of them are lessons, karmic situations that we must overcome, as well as the powers that be who govern this world, not as in the whole of the world, but as in, let's say, civilization, right? The powers that be, they have it set up where certain individuals stay in poverty and endure suffering because it benefits them. So the reason there's poverty and suffering in the world is for spiritual growth and evolution, because this is another level of hell. This is an outpost of hell, right? And it's also another distraction, because when there is poverty and suffering, you can be trapped thinking about survival and worldly, strictly survival things, what's going to keep you in your lower level or your lower self or your lower level or chakras. Because when you are in such poverty or suffering going on, very few people can transcend that immediate reality and tap into something higher, right? So if you're worried about survival, sex, money, staying alive, surviving, things like that, rarely will you, so the lower level, your lower self, your lower chakras, very rarely will you pretty much be able to look at the world as this spiritual training ground where it's abundant and you are the creator of your reality and you can create everything that you want. Because when you're in that situation, you're going to think, I didn't create this. But not only that, when you're in these lower level states and survival is number one priority, that animal self, that part of you, it's going to be hard to override that. Okay? because it's going to be the animal self and your higher self talking. And we all know that when your higher self speaks to you, it's not, a lot of times it's not making decisions for that moment. It's for later in the future. So it's like, don't eat that or don't go that way because later down the line you're going to regret it. Whereas the animal self is like instant gratification. It's like, do this, get this reward. So have sex and you're going to get this orgasm, right? This dopamine hit. It's dope. Or drugs. Get the dopamine hit. That's all the animal self, the lower level self. So that is why I believe there is poverty and suffering here, because this is another level of hell. The powers that be keep it this way because they want to keep us tracked. They want to keep pretty much this system running. We're just batteries in this machine, as well as it's also a training grounds for us to spiritually evolve. Okay. So number 2, what is the relationship between science and religion? Well, the relationship between science and religion. I'm going to say, what's the relationship between science and spirituality? Because, to be honest, I don't know too much about many religions. But I know all religions are governed around spirituality, or at least they have some sprinkled in there. So what's the relationship between science and spirituality? Well, spirituality is just a science that's not understood by scientists. Okay? Just like we have physics, which is a part of science, we also have metaphysics. It is just the first, most ancient science that there was, as well as like astrology. Okay? It's just another category of science, but most scientists won't accept that, because if they have like a atheistic point of view, maybe, then they need proof of these type of things. But the relationship is that spirituality is just a misunderstood science. Okay. Why are so many people depressed? Well, I believe that so many people are depressed today because they have severed the connection with their spirit, their true self, their truest values. Because you can achieve, you can attain all these accolades and everything, but that's only satisfying the lower self. But the thing is, the lower self can't be satisfied. It's like taking a medication that almost works. You're going to have to keep taking it over and over again. So all these things you achieve, it's almost curing you, but it's not going to cure you, because the spirit is what truly matters. That is what needs to be satisfied and nourished. But that's the example of people who have achieved stuff. So the people who don't have much, why are they depressed? Why are teenagers or young adults today depressed? Well, I believe they are depressed for the same reasons, because they are neglecting the spirit, because they're not taught about it. Okay, religion, it touches on there periodically, but religion also forces you to seek outside of yourself for answers, as well as a savior. And we have the society today that, or now, like especially today and age, like the music that we listen to, it promotes depression. It promotes that that sad feel. You know, it's no different. I believe that when you're in a bad mood, when you're feeling sad, let's say you went through a breakup, you're gonna listen to music that's gonna make you more sad, because that's the frequency you're on. And so when you are so in tune or so tapped into what society is doing and they're pushing this type of narrative, you can't help but to vibrate on their frequency. So that's another reason why so many are depressed. Another reason is because the parents of us young adults, they have no idea what they're doing. They are depressed. They're going through existential crisis, midlife crises, and they are pushing their outdated beliefs upon the kid or on the young adult, because if they had a certain way of going about living in their day and age, right? Let's say their thing was they had 3 jobs they were working to provide food for their kids, being this person we're talking about in this example. If this 25-year-old today doesn't want to live that lifestyle, he's going to be shunned a lot of times, or she's going to be shunned because the parent doesn't understand it, because the parent now looks at this person as being lazy because they don't want to take that approach, and because they don't understand that, look, I can make money off the internet, okay? I can make money off a stock market, okay? I can make money off YouTube, off Instagram, off social media, but they don't get that. They don't understand. All they believe in is that, no, you work a 9 to 5. If you have to, you work multiple ones, and then you save your money so you can pay your bills, you can buy nice things, go on a vacation. So I believe those are a lot of the reasons why so many people are depressed, as well as they may be going through an awakening and they don't know what's happening. They don't know how to navigate it. And then the people around them may look at them as crazy or losing it. And when you're outcast by the people you love, that can lead to depression, I'm sure. All right. What are we all so afraid of? The true us, aren't afraid of anything. Like our highest self, not afraid of anything. However, our egos, the ego's afraid of death. For the ego, death comes from uncertainty, anything new. Okay? Like, that's why fear kicks in before you get ready to do something new. Because the ego starts worrying that we don't know what to expect. I don't know what's behind that door. I don't know what's down that road. I don't know what's on the other side of this. I don't know what's going to happen if I leave this job. But if I stay, I know what's going to happen. The devil you know is better than the devil you don't. That's what the ego thinks. Okay? The ego thinks, yes, I hate this relationship. I'm being abused on all levels, emotionally, physically, spiritually. However, this person provides for me. We've been together for 30 years. And if I was to leave him, I don't know what to do. That is what the ego is afraid of. Death, which is simply the unknown, and which is simply anything out of your comfort zone. So the death is scared of dying. That's why if you're going through any psychedelic experiences, one of the best things that you can do is surrender, because the ego is going to want to hold on. In fact, during my ayahuasca trip I went on, the first 5 minutes of 5 to 10 minutes of me going through my experience when the medicine actually started working, was me going back and forth with my ego, trying to surrender. It was like, let go. Let go. I kept having to say that to myself like a mantra over and over, because the ego doesn't want to let go. Because the ego thinks that if you step out, then it's dead. And the ego is what creates our reality, right? It is that individual person who grew up in this neighborhood, who went to this school, had these certain life experiences, who wore those things as a badge. So, what are we all afraid of? The higher self isn't afraid of anything, but the lower self, or the ego, is afraid of dying. And death comes from the unknown when it comes to the ego or anything outside the comfort zone. So, okay. When is war justifiable? When is war justifiable? So, I was actually in the military. For those who don't know, I just got out last year, and when I joined, me personally, this is me. I just needed a job, honestly. But as I went through, pretty much went through the indoctrination, whatever, I began to believe in the purpose and the mission, so to speak. But it wasn't until my first deployment when I was I was out at a post. This is in Kuwait, and they told us that we were like 30 minutes from Iraq, and I remember just being out there at one post, one shack by myself, as the sun was rising because I worked night shift. I was like, yo, what if a bunch of cats just hit that corner with a bunch of AKs, right? And I'm just going in my head like what I would do, like how many rounds I get, just trying to stay sharp as well as drilling in my head as well as thinking about what I would do. But then I thought again, I'm like, yo, let's say I was to die out here. What I would receive, or my parents would receive, would be a Purple Heart or a Medal of Honor and some money. And then I thought, I'm like, yo, is that a fair exchange? Like, is that worth it? I don't know about you, but I don't think you can put a price on a human. But being out there, I realized that that's essentially what I was doing. I was putting a price on my life. But from that point, I looked at it differently. Now, I'm not saying that war isn't justified. But getting back to the question, when is war justifiable? I believe war is justifiable when all other means have been exhausted. So, let's say in your home or in the tribal days, right? You have this group approaching you with ill intent. And let's use the example of back in the day, right, when you have tribes. Let's say you're the tribe leader, you're the tribe elder, and another tribe is approaching, right? Typically, I'm assuming that the leader of that tribe, you, would go approach the leader of that tribe and ask what's going on. Basically, they would pretty much ask you to surrender or be annihilated. At that point, that's when war is justified to me, because it's either kill or be killed. Okay? So, war is justifiable when all other means have been exhausted. How would God want us to respond to aggression and terrorism? I believe that God would want us to respond to aggression and terrorism with more aggression. Be honest. Now, some of you probably think, oh no, love. No, I don't think so. Because, yes, that is the love and light answer. But one thing I have to realize that everything isn't love and light, especially going back to the first question or the second question, I don't remember. This is another dimension of hell, right? And with that, it's going to be negativity. It's going to be horrific shit that goes on. Not only that, man is both animal and divine, or animal and God, merged into one. Your lower self and higher self merged into one. So with that, that lower self wants to survive. Without this lower self, without this physical body, without this animal body, this spiritual being couldn't thrive. It couldn't have these experiences. Okay? So, if someone is applying aggression to you, it would be who of you, I believe God would want us to respond with aggression, because this is, because my opinion of it is, we are all God experiencing life, because God, it wants several experiences. It wants to gain a bigger, a vast amount of knowledge, and it does that through each individual that's here experiencing life, having experiences. Okay, so to God, I don't think it looks at aggression and terrorism as necessarily negative. It looks at it as it's a part of life. And so if you want to live longer, you got to apply pressure with pressure. You got to apply aggression with aggression. Okay. How does one obtain true peace? I believe that one attains true peace by accepting the past, being fully present in the present, and being optimistic about the future. And this can only be done through releasing releasing anything you have, release anything that you're holding on to from the past, whether that's regrets, traumas, guilt, shame, envy. Releasing any of that, you're accepting the past. You are present in the now. So whatever circumstance, situation that are going on now, you're comfortable in it. That doesn't mean you have to be satisfied with it, but you're comfortable with it. And the future is optimistic because now you're also making plans for the future. Okay? So yeah, I believe that's how one attains true peace. What does it mean to live in the present moment? Well, that means releasing things from the past, as well as being okay with everything that's going on now. It's like things may not be the way I want them to be, but I'm okay with it because I am actively moving towards something better. Okay. And a technique to live, or doesn't even need a technique. The question is, what does it mean to live in the present? It means to be present at this very second. You are aware of your surroundings. You feel the air against you. You smell the scents flowing through the air, right? You feel the seat, the chair you're sitting on. You feel the ground beneath you. You hear what's going on. You hear the TV, you hear the birds chirping or whatever. You taste whatever it is you're consuming. You're just so present. Because when you're present in the moment, the future or the past doesn't exist when you're truly in the moment. So that is what it means to live in the present moment. What is our greatest distraction? Our greatest distraction is the lower self. It's the animal body. Because that is the only thing that distracts us. It truly is. Because let's see, you're distracted by social media. You're not. The lower self is. The ego is distracted by it because it feels like it's going to miss out on something if it's not tuned in, right? it's afraid that if it doesn't keep up with the trends, if it doesn't have those type of clothes, that type of lifestyle, making that much money, then it's going to be outcasted, which could lead to being excommunicated, so to speak, from the group, from the tribe mentality, which then would put you in a uncomfortable position, which is the unknown, which could lead to death, because it goes all the way back to the tribal days. Like our ego, our DNA is still the same wiring that our great, 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 great ancestors had, right? Still the same type of wiring, just in today's modern age. So our greatest distraction is the ego, because it is what craves the instant gratification things. It's the thing that craves sex over love. It's the thing that craves drugs, right? It's the thing that needs to run away from problems, and it does that a lot of times through drugs. And yeah, that is our greatest distraction. I'm not saying that the ego is just all bad, because you need the ego to live, but it also is a distraction. Is current religion serving its purpose? Is current religion serving its purpose? I don't know what its purpose is. If its purpose is to give man something to believe in, or a rule book for life, then I would say yes, it is serving its purpose. However, if the purpose of religion is to help man evolve spiritually, to realize what he truly is, or who she truly is, to evolve spiritually, to take ownership of oneself, I don't think it's serving its purpose. Now, when I say this, I am mainly thinking about Christianity and Catholicism, as well as Islam, the Nation of Islam. So I can't speak on like Taoism or Buddhism, those more Eastern based religions. I believe they're doing a better job of it. Like, I think it's in India, they have the Bhagavad Gita. Or you got Egyptian, they got the Egyptian Book of the Dead. I don't know if that's a religion, but I believe those are serving their purpose. But in terms of the big religions, no, I don't think they're serving their purpose. If the purpose is to help man realize what he is, or what it is, and his purpose here. What happens to you after you die? Well, I believe that after you die, your soul returns to the whole, and your astral form, which is linked to the ego, it's pretty much a carbon copy of who you were when you were living. I believe that goes to the astral realm with your ancestors. Okay. Now, I believe your soul then moves on to other lifetimes, if that's what you choose. But the spirit stays in that astral form, or that astral realm. But it also could experience lower levels. So if a person believes in hell, they will experience hell. If they didn't evolve spiritually, they will experience hell or lower levels. If they were more evolved, they're going to experience higher levels of dimensions, higher planes of dimensions. Um, yeah, and then for most people, they pretty much reincarnate again. They get trapped in a reincarnation cycle again. But others who are spiritually evolved, they can choose something different. That's what I believe, what happens after you die. Describe heaven and how to get there. Well, I believe that heaven is a state of being as well as a place. Now, I believe you can get to heaven while you're on earth by creating heaven for yourself, whatever heaven is for you, because we are creators. We can create our reality, and basically, what your heaven is, you can create that here on earth. But I also believe that once you die, if you reach a certain level of evolution, as well as if you believe you're going to heaven, once you die, you can go there. However, I believe that it's also a trap, though. That place just is a pit stop before you reincarnate again, because it's still a trap. Yep. That's and then, like I said, you get there through spiritual evolution and your beliefs while here on earth. What is the meaning of life? Spiritual growth. If we're all spiritual beings, if the spirit supersedes all things physical, what is the other reason? If we are all part of the divine and the divine is all us, we are just different sparks of the divine having these experiences because it wants to have multiple experiences to evolve as a entity. Then that means we're going to have to spiritually evolve to do that. Okay. Describe God. That's a huge question. Well, God is kind of like what the Tao says. In fact, I don't have that book over here, but the book, the Tao Te Ching, basically says the Tao, or that's what they call God. The Tao can't be named. Is pretty much nameless. It's formless. It's the moment it is named, that is not it. Like a word can't do it justice. But ultimately, I believe God is just a frequency. It's a certain frequency that pretty much emits the frequency of love, bliss, peace. But it's such a high frequency that it's unattainable through, or incomprehensible to the human's physical faculties, I guess you can say, or mental faculties. It's just so out of reach for us that we can't even fathom it, right? It's analogous to, let's say you want to hook up a certain tool that needs a plug, right? It has a certain level of volts or wattage, whatever the term is for it. And you try to plug it into the outlet, but it just blows a fuse because that thing you're trying to plug in is just, it requires so much energy that it blows a fuse because there's not enough power to generate or to get that item going. And I feel like it's the same when it comes to the divine, what God is. It's like if God was to try to communicate with us, that what would happen. We would just explode because we can't comprehend that type of frequency. We can't contain that much energy inside a human body. If that makes sense. Okay. What is the greatest quality humans possess? Resiliency. Hmm. Yeah. Well, actually, no. The greatest quality humans possess, the quality to think, or no, that's not really a quality. Um, well, maybe it is resiliency. The ability to pretty much recover from any and everything that life throws at you. Yeah, I'm gonna go with resiliency. Like, somebody can have the most horrific shit happen to them, but it just becomes normal after a while, right? They can be tortured all their life, but eventually it becomes normal. They can experience the most horrific shit known to man, but they can survive and overcome and thrive afterwards. So I would say the greatest quality humans possess is resiliency. 16. What is it that prevents people from living to their full potential? Distractions, the lower self, the system as a whole that is designed to keep us trapped and stuck and locked into the matrix. And lack of knowledge of self. That's the biggest one. Lack of knowledge of self when it comes to reaching your full potential. Lack of knowledge of self and distractions. Because let's say you're not distracted. Let's say you aren't really necessarily trapped in the media. But if you don't know what you truly are, then I don't think it makes a big difference. Non-verbally, by motion or gesture only. Act out what you believe to be the current condition of the world. Non-verbally, by motion or gesture only. Act out what you believe to be the current condition of the world. That's a good question. Hmm. Well, if I could do this motion or gesture, it would be me putting a hood on and basically holding a light or a lantern. And what I mean by that is, I think of when it comes to, hold on, when it comes to tarot, this, this is what came to mind. The Hermit card. The Hermit card is all about going within for answers, right? He's very wise, but he's going within for answers. And I believe that that's the current state of the world. That the world is evolving. We're moving to the next dimension. We're all forced to go within right now because shit's chaos, shit's changing. It's a new normal, or shit is just hitting us from left and right. And I believe we're all forced to go within. And I think that's the current state or current condition of the world. Or at least the major parts of the world, like the US, the UK, Australia, places like that. Okay. Almost done. What is your one wish for the world? More wishes. Nah. What is your one wish for the world? I wish that everyone just gained knowledge of self in an instant, exactly what they were and why they came down here. That might have been a different answer for a different question. So maybe that was if I can make one wish for the world. But yeah, I mean, yeah, no, I'm sticking with that answer. What is wisdom and how do we gain it? Wisdom is knowledge that you have attained through experiences, be it you experience yourself or you witness someone else do it, as well as, well, yeah, that's what wisdom is. You've experienced or you witness someone else do it. However, this wisdom can be passed down through generations as well as lifetimes, incarnations. That is what wisdom is. 20. Are we all one? Yes. We all have the same higher self. We all are extensions of the divine. It's analogous to the divine God being this huge squid, this octopus. And let's say it has 500 billion or trillion, however many people here on earth, we're the tentacles. That's it. We're all one. Yeah, that's it. Those are good questions. Hmm. Okay. I'm gonna try to get timestamps in here and everything, but tell me what you think about that. Like, I'd like to hear your feedback on the questions, my answers. What do you think about them? How long is this video? It's pretty long video, 45, 47 seconds or 47 minutes rather, and some good questions. Really made me think, especially the one about the nonverbals. But yeah, if you like this video, if you enjoyed it, thumbs it up, share it for you, boy. Um, like I said, you got any questions or feedback, drop it in the comment section. Subscribe for more. But until next time, I'm out. Peace.